I just want to, every time I talk about your group, I quote this. It came off your website. So I just want to say this to kind of set the stage. I mean, we've been talking about you for months, so we're ready. But this is I take from your website. We call for an end to the cynical exploitation of minorities by those who seek to demean Israel. Instead, we show the reality of minorities in Israel, a reality of respect, safety, and security, standing in stark contrast to other minorities who are being butchered every day across the Middle East. So with that, I would like to welcome you to the podium and turn the program over to you three. Thank you.
Good evening, y'all.
Y'all?
I'm learning.
Is it better without
No, we need the
I prefer it without the microphone. Can you all hear me?
They need the mic.
The mic. Okay, you need the mic. No, I don't mind, but sometimes I love to use
That's okay.
my both hands because we're from the Middle East and we use our hands a lot. My name is Jonathan El-Khoury, and I'm the Minorities Coordinator for an organization called Reservists on Duty. To begin with, I'm really happy to be here, and I'm sure that it's going to be an amazing to meet you all, and it's going to be an amazing kickoff for our 2 weeks tour that we're having, mainly in Texas and in Boston and in New York. So we're really looking forward to it. The quote that you quoted from our website was actually from an op-ed that I wrote about minorities in Israel, and that's the reason that we built this amazing group of people. Reservist on Duty was established about 2.5 years ago by reservist combat soldiers and officers in the IDF that after finishing their service, sometimes they traveled around the world and they heard a lot of false information about their service in the West Bank or in the Gaza Strip, and heard about a lot of lies, mainly about their service. So they wanted to refute these claims and just share their own stories. The reason that we built the Minorities Project was mainly because of this same ideas. What is happening is that a lot of people think that in Israel, there's only Israelis that are the Jews and Palestinians that are Arabs who are suffering because of Israel. And this is not true at all. In Israel, we have a mixture of minorities who are Christians, Druze, Bedouins, Muslims, Baha'i, and many other small identities and religions that we have. And in order to expose and share our stories, we said that because not all of you are going to go to Israel, so we're going to bring us here to share our stories and refute that. One of the main reasons for this project is because of college campuses. I guess you all know what is happening now today in college campuses regarding Israel and the circus. Actually, I call it a circus because it's absurd what is going on. There is a group called Students for Justice in Palestine. Have you heard of that group? It's a group that supports the BDS movement, that is actively working in order to attack everyone who is Israeli abroad, to boycott and sanction every company that works in Israel. They're not only dealing with the West Bank, they're talking about all of Israel. Their main creators of the BDS movement are anti-Semites who don't believe in the existence of Israel. And we're here to expose that. I would like to show you a short video of what happened when we went to an apartheid week. That's what they call this week against Israel in the campuses. What we faced over there and the reason that we brought these amazing people to share their stories with you, for you to share with other people as well. Let's see the video.
Don't talk to him. We don't engage.
Don't engage with people who are going to be tired. Don't engage with people.
I would like the source for this. Can I get it, please?
I said you guys don't use your shit. Anyone wants to see that, please let that from us.
I'd like the shirt for this. I've never seen this in my life. And I lived there and I served in the Israeli army.
Why? Why should it?
Apartheid state.
In Haifa University, 45% of it are non-Jews. In Akron University, 55% of it are non-Jews. In Tzfat University, 65% of it are non-Jews. What kind of apartheid is that?
There's facts on the ground that they're lying about.
They're lying because I'm a Muslim living in Israel and we don't have an apartheid.
لا أنا مش يهودي مسلم، أنا عربي إسرائيلي مسلم.
And our millions of dollars funneling into Gaza and to the West Bank. And where does it go?
فيلم شو كانت؟ شو ده الفلسطينيين كان رئيسها؟ شو كان علمها؟ شو كانت حدودها اللي فلسطين تحكي عنها؟
Why are they living in multi-million-dollar mansions when their people are starving?
I'm not getting paid a dime to be here. I'm here because I believe in liberal thinking. I don't believe in hate speech. I don't believe in incitement. And I think that this is what this is.
Stop being so hateful. Stop being so passive. You pro.
Palestinians reacted to when you guys killed 3 kids. You guys loved it. You celebrated it.
The second that Jewish students that are a little different from you feel uncomfortable to walk by here, yeah, I'm going to stand up for that as an American, as an Israeli, and as a former IDF soldier.
So as you see, we went there in order to make sure that everyone knows that what they're saying is lies and that we want to share the truth. And this is only 3 to 4 minutes of a whole week that we spent there because it's really important for us not only to refute their lies, but to support Christians and Jewish people and students who are studying there and are frightened because they're being attacked for doing that. One of the things, like, how absurd is that they accused me of stealing the language Arabic when I tried to speak with them in Arabic. My tongue language is Arabic, my mother's language is Arabic. I grew up speaking Arabic since I remember myself. I'm a Christian who was born in Lebanon. This is our official language, Arabic. So how can you accuse me of stealing your language when you were born in America, actually? That was one of the absurdest things that I was accused of, except of being white, and I don't think that I'm that white. If you want to be honest. So we built this amazing group. We have with us today Yusuf Haddad. He's a Christian from Nazareth. He built his own organization in order to integrate Christians and Arabs in Israel to the Israeli society. We have Lorena Khatib. She's a Druze woman from Kufr Ismail village in the north of Israel. She's going to speak about the Druze community. How many of you know about the Druze community here? Only you, sir, in the back? Great, so we have a lot of new information for you. We have a lot of information for you, so let's begin because we want to answer your questions as well. So I would like to invite Yusuf Haddad at the beginning to begin with his story.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. I gotta say, I like your t-shirt. That's for sure. All right, so my name is Yusuf Haddad. I'm 33 years old. I was born in Haifa. It's a city, mixed city in the north. But I was raised in Nazareth. I'm sure you're well aware of the city of Nazareth. I spent my best years there. And my father is a priest. He actually, we practice in a village near Nazareth called Yafa. In Hebrew, it's Yafia. My mom is a French teacher, used to at least, now she's in pension. That's why I know to say "Comment ça va?" Basically, that's it. When I was going through my teenage years, and going through the age of 18, I thought to myself, I had Arab friends, Christians, Muslims, Jews, Bedouin, and I had also Jewish friends. So at the age of 17 and a half, all my friends, they got a certificate that they need to come to the army and to do their first application, and I didn't get one. The reason why I didn't get one because the Arabs in Israel, they do not have to serve. So I started asking questions, why? And I think us being part of Israel, being part of this great country, we should serve. Eventually, when something happened to this country, it happens to all the population, and there's no divided, okay, there's the Arabs and there's the Jews, so we'll only hit the Jews and not the Arabs. So eventually, we're all Israelis. And I decided to volunteer for the army, and I didn't just volunteer for the army, I decided to be at the Golani Brigade, a warrior, and at the beginning, they told me, listen, we cannot promise you. When I actually asked the army to join, to volunteer, they said, we cannot promise you that you will get to serve in the Golani Brigade. So I told them, I don't need to serve, you know, so if you don't promise me, then I will not come. 3 days later, they called me and they say, okay, listen, if you pass all the tests, you are in Golani Brigade, and I can tell you it's the best brigade in the IDF. That's for sure. I did start my service 3 years, but unfortunately, 1 month before my service was supposed to end, I was injured very badly in the Second Lebanon War in 2006. I had my crew, and we were in Binjbel. It's a village in the south of Lebanon. And a tank crew got hit by an anti-tank missile, and the crew over there was injured badly. So my team was supposed to go and rescue the crew. We did that successfully. We actually rescued each and every one of the crews, and we got them back to a point where we evacuated them back to Israel. But the mission was a little bit too much longer than what we thought it would be. So the sun came and we had some light, and on our way back to our shelter, we were spotted by Hezbollah force who shot at us an anti-tank missile. Luckily, the missile just missed by centimeters, went like behind my back, hit a wall, and from that explosion, I basically flew out 10, 15 feet and went down. And for me, it was like I'm just flipping like this, didn't notice anything. While I was on the ground, I felt a little bit of warmth because of blood, and for me, it was like I knew that I'm injured, and I knew that I'm injured badly. While I am on my stomach, the only thing that I was thinking about is, oh my God, what I'm going to tell my mom now. So this is the only concern of mine right now. After I asked my question, this question, I flipped and I saw that my foot was not attached to my body. So I started shouting, I don't have my foot on me. And my crew came and saved me, rescued me to a shelter, and they took care of me. I'm very happy to tell you that today, not only I have my own foot without any assistant, but I play soccer and I run 10 kilometers 3 times a week. So I'm very happy about that. Thanks.
Awesome.
Thank you. And eventually, from that point, that my life has changed. Because through the whole year of rehabilitation, the state of Israel, my country, took care of me in the best way that I could ask. And I knew from that day that eventually I would come to a point that I will do something for our community, for our society. And I'm talking about, when I'm saying our society, I'm talking about the Arab society, the Jewish society, which means the Israeli society. So before I jump to my next subject that I want to talk to you about, I want to show you a short video of mine, and after that, we'll continue talking.
Un momento, por favor.
פרסמת פוסט, עמית, אפשר להגיד שבו אתה קורא להדחתם של כל חברי הרשימה המשותפת.
נכון.
למה?
משום שחברי הרשימה המשותפת בעצם עסוקים במאבקם מחוץ לשיח של הציבור הערבי-ישראלי, ולא באמת מתעסקים בעיקר, וזה המגזר הערבי-ישראלי. אני חושב שהגענו למצב שגם אם הכל הוא קול שקט, אבל הבועה הזאת בסופו של דבר עומדת להתפוצץ. והציבור במגזר הערבי הגיע למקום שאומר, אתם לא מטפלים בנו. אנחנו שומעים יותר מדי צעקות כלפי חוץ, מה קורה כלפי פנים. אנחנו לא שומעים את זה בכלל. ואני חושב שמהמקום הזה הגיע הזמן שנטפל בבעיות של המגזר הערבי בתוך החברה הישראלית.
התייחס בפוסט גם לזה שחברי הכנסת הערבים, על פי דעתך, ויותר לבד, עסוקים בהפרדה במקום בחיבור. אתה מעוניין שערביי ישראל יתחברו באופן מלא למציאות הישראלית?
אין ספק, אני חושב שאחד הדברים שהכי חשובים הוא חיבור המגזר הערבי לחברה הישראלית. הדבר רק יתרום למגזר הערבי, ואני חושב שמעבר לזה שהוא יתרום, זה יקדם את החברה הערבית הישראלית מכל הבחינות. Alright, so this was, what you saw right now is actually what I'm working on it. This is my lifetime job for, this is what I'm going to do from now, or actually 5 months ago, until the rest of my life. My target, my mission is to bring the Arab society, and as Jonathan said, the Arab society, we are 1.8 million Arabs, Muslims, Christians, Jews, Bedouin, Cherkess. All of us, we need to be part of the Israeli society, part of the Israeli country. And something really amazing that I must tell you about is when you see this kind of a problem where some people do not really know about what's going on inside our society. They don't know that about the Christians in Israel, about the Muslims in Israel, about the Druze, and about the Bedouin. We are a society that we can be. We are very lucky, by the way, that's for sure, because we are lucky to be a part of the Israeli society. We are lucky to be born in Israel, because as you see in Syria what's going on, and in Iraq, and in any other Arab country, and I'm saying to myself, I'm very grateful to be an Israeli. I'm very grateful to be a Christian, and I'm very grateful to have this opportunity to bring us to a better place and in a better situation. And I do think, I hope in the future, I do think that we will be able to bring all of us together. And I think eventually, with the support of the Christian community all over the world, especially here in the United States, we definitely can reach this target. I am very happy to be here. Thank you for having me. Thank you for hearing my voice. And hopefully we will see you more and more. So thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Victor. I think what Yosef touches is really interesting in the Arab society, because he mentioned what is happening in the Arab world surrounding us. And you mentioned it in the quote at the beginning from the op-ed that I wrote, because you saw that the change in the Arab society in Israel started in 2012. That's when the Arab Spring, or the Arab Winter, but I love to call it because it's more accurate, started to happen all over. Suddenly, we started seeing the Arab countries surrounding us starting to collapse. None of the minorities are having protection. Even the majority are not having any protection because it's chaos all over the place. And suddenly, what we all know for decades, that Israel is the only beacon of light in the Middle East, everyone is seeing that it's actually the only country standing, holding its democracy, and I think it's stronger than ever today. And like Yosef said, we're all grateful to be able to live in a democracy that allows us to have our freedom, to be able to criticize and to be able to support and to be able to work all together. And eventually that's what we all are bringing here for you today and what we are doing back at home. One of the amazing, I think, stories of the Druze society in Israel is that of its history with Israel since its establishment. I'm really happy that Lorena is here with us in order to share this unique story of her family, and the Druze community in Israel. Lorena.
Good evening, everybody. First of all, thank you all for having us here. My name is Lorena Khatib. I'm 22 years old, almost.
At midnight. You should say that. At midnight.
Midnight? Oh!
I'm a BA student at Haifa University. I study sociology, anthropology, and political science. I'm Druze Israeli woman, and I came from a military family background. My dad was in the warden for 37 years, and my brother also worked in the army career. And in our society and religion, only men can and should do the army service. Women can be part of the field activities. So I did 1 year of national service in the Druze Youth Organization. The main goal of this organization was to advocate and to improve the relationships between the Druze community and the Israeli society, and to advocate for leadership values and good citizenship. So I will speak a little bit about the Druze community. We are an Arab-speaking community that have split from the Shia Ismaili in the 11th century. It's a group of Muslims. We resemble more than 100,000 citizens in Israel, and the others are residents of the Golan Heights. In the whole world, like we don't have a multicultural marriage because we are a small minority in the world, and if we have like multicultural marriage, we will disappear in a couple of years, so it's not acceptable. And I can say that the Druze religion is always kept as a secret. Only the religious people can know the secrets of their religion. And the holy towns of the Druze community are in southern Lebanon, in Syria, and in Israel. And I have also to say that every year, every 18 Druze citizens since 1956 have to join the army after the Druze leadership. After the Druze had the leaderships assigned an agreement with the government that every 18 Druze citizen have to join the army beside the women and the religious people. Every year in Israel, 85% of the Druze community join to the army. This number is higher, more than the Jewish community in Israel. And we are a small minority. So I can say that life as a minority, in my point of view, is very challenging and amazing. But on the one side, I don't like the people that categorize me as a Druze, as a loyal Druze, because we do the army service and we keep the land, and many Druze soldiers were killed in the battlefields. Like the Druze community have sacrificed more than 420 soldiers in the battlefields. But in the other side, I can say that we give all of our debts and we get all of our rights. So there is no place in the whole world that the Druze community can express themselves or feel independent like in Israel. For example, Israel was the first country that have recognized the Druze community as a unique religion. And I have faced a lot of misleading conceptions about Israel. So I felt responsible to be here with all of my friends and to defend my homeland, because it's our responsibility to be here. And I think all of us have a message to pass it. So if there is a message that is really burning for me to pass it, is promoting the status of women in our society. In every Arab culture and community, there is no equality between women and men. So even standing here in front of you, it's not that acceptable. After all of my hesitations, it was a huge step for me to come here and to stand in front of you all and to take the opportunity and to share with you my story, because it's not that acceptable. So I think and I believe that the change begin with us. So if we didn't do this, so nobody will do it. And I will sum up my speech by saying, or by quoting the 10th Prime Minister quote that Israel is a villa in the jungle. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lorena. I think we all talk about activism, as you see, and you all talked at the beginning about the upcoming elections and your involvement in these. I think this over.
No, it's on.
It's on.
It's
Yeah,
on?
we hear it.
So you talk about this involvement, and I think that's okay. I can use my voice. You talked about involvement, and I think that this is what we are all trying to pass as well. Now you have our stories as well. I'm going to share with you my story in a bit. But now you have our stories as well. You have, I think, 3 stories out of hundreds of stories that we have in Israel, but it's something of this amazing mosaic that it's called Israel, that you can all share with your friends, with your children, some of them that are in college or in universities, and they can help each other with this information, because this is really important. Sorry. So Lorena really touched that, and we're all trying to do that as well with this involvement. We're having the elections in Israel for the mayor and the city council in the 30th of October this year. And now all of Israel is filled with flyers and banners, and we don't really have a lot of like you said, the front yard, because most of the places are buildings, but a lot of people do put banners on their windows, so you can see involvement with the community, but not enough as we want it, especially involvement in the Israeli society, and not as outsiders, only in our own community. I would like to finish this sector before we start with the Q&A. I will talk really shortly because I speak a lot, and I don't want to be locked in this building with you in the evening. Although you're wonderful, but we have to get to San Antonio tomorrow at 9 a.m. So like I said, my name is Jonathan Al-Khouri. I'm 26 years old. My father was an officer in the South Lebanon Army. The South Lebanon Army was established in 1982 with the help of Israel in South Lebanon. It was actually the Christians in Lebanon who have suffered from the civil war that started during the 60s and 70s, and that was mainly persecuting Christians. The PLO, that is now the Palestinian Authority, and later on the Hezbollah terrorist organization that is now controlling South Lebanon and controlling the political parties in Lebanon. They persecuted us, and we suddenly saw that we have only one people in our neighborhood that is suffering from the same people that we are suffering from, and it's about time that we work together and connect. And that's how the Christians in South Lebanon connected with the Jews in the land of Israel. It started even before the establishment of Israel, but it actually was built during the 80s. So the reason that I'm talking to you today as an Israeli is because to withdraw from South Lebanon, and because Hassan Nasrallah, the head of the terrorist organization Hezbollah,
said that he's going to persecute everyone who was part of the South Lebanon Army. Israel opened its border and gave us the opportunity to find a shelter in Israel. I was 8 years old when my dad suddenly disappeared because he ran away to Israel. My mom, my brother, and I, we stayed in Lebanon for another year and a half under Hezbollah control. They started entering our villages, our homes, taking whatever they want because they're the new chief in town, and we couldn't do anything. We're always talking about the silent majority, that if they would have spoken out, everything would have been changed. It's the same thing of today. What is happening? It's not, it's not controlled by terror groups, but they are scared, some of them, to share their stories about living in Israel. So after experiencing that for a year and a half, my mom then decided that we can't stay in Lebanon and we should flee to Israel and join my father. For this whole year and a half, I didn't know where my father was. I spoke to him only once because before leaving, he gave her an Israeli phone. She buried it in the ground, and then she would go out at night after the patrol of the Hezbollah would go on. She would take the phone for a few minutes, talk to him, and then bury it again. That's how she did that for a year and a half, and I knew about it only once. So in August 2001, suddenly my mom woke me up at 5 a.m. She said that we're gonna leave for a vacation to our family in Beirut. I said, yay, we're gonna go to Beirut. We used to live in the south. It's actually only 1 mile if you go. Who have visited Israel before? Good, that means that we're waiting for you all to come to Israel.
Jonathan,
And now you have 3 friends.
would you check out that mic, the wired mic? And see
Oh,
if
this
that-
one.
Let's see if that's working.
Hey. Okay.
Thank you.
So it's only 1 mile from the Israeli border. That's our home from Israel. But my mom took us to Beirut, to our relatives. But suddenly I found myself in Beirut airport. My mom called her sister to say goodbye. She didn't see her since then. Suddenly my mom's parents were standing there at the entrance to the airport. My father's brothers as well, they heard that we're gonna leave and they just came to say goodbye to us. And I didn't really know what is happening because my mom didn't share that with me. As you see, I speak a lot. So she knew that if she would have told me, I would tell someone and then they could arrest us at any moment. So she kept that as a secret, but I was 9 years old in 2001. I held 2 teddy bears around my arms, and I was walking in Beirut airport. My mom then told me that we're gonna fly to the States because I have an uncle who lives in California, and that we're gonna go visit him. I said, yay, we're going to a vacation. We landed after 30 minutes in Cyprus. There was no States. There at Cyprus, suddenly a man came to us when we were going out of the airport. He asked my mom, are you the Holy family? My mom didn't answer him at the beginning because she didn't know who's the man, and she was afraid that he's gonna arrest us or something. And then he asked her again, are you the Holy family? I have your husband on the phone. And it was actually my father. He said that this man is from the Israeli government. He's going to help us go through security, take us to the Israeli embassy, get our papers, and that we will be able to book our flight to Israel. Because we came with Lebanese passports, and Lebanon and Israel, until today, they are enemy states. You can't just travel with your passport to Israel. 24 hours after that, we were on a plane to Israel, and then we connected with my father. This is me, I was really cute back then. Here, this picture on the right is actually from the first weeks when we met again with my father. It was on Tiberias Lake, the Lake of Galilee. We went for a vacation and to see the Holy Land because I come from 14 generations of priests in my family. My last name is Al-Khubi. It's literally the priest. Translation from Arabic. And we always learned about that, but suddenly I could see it. And that was really enlightening for me. And I really want to make it short, so I'm going to jump over to today. I did national service for 2 years because what made me understand that eventually you can leave a house, you can relocate. Suddenly you can find yourself in a foreign country with a foreign language that you have never heard or never spoken before, that is Hebrew. And in 3 months, because of the acceptance of the Israeli society, I was able to learn it so quickly. I was the only Arab-speaking child in my school. The Jewish schools were the only one who accepted us because the Arab schools accused us of being traitors for working with Israel, and they have Israeli IDs. Another absurdity that I don't understand. So when I turned 18, I said that I have to do something for the country who saved me, and the country who eventually gave me the opportunity to live more freely than I actually had in my own homeland. Lebanon is destroyed today. You don't actually have freedom of expression. You don't really have the freedom of speech. It used to be a Christian country, but today the Christians are a minority in Lebanon. We used to be 80%. Today it's more around the 30. So seeing that, I said that I have to support the country that I live in. I have to be involved in an activity with the community. So I did national service in a hospital for 2 years, and I kept on doing, encouraging other Christians in Israel to do the same. So I told you about 2012. Then we started, I actually joined an organization who encouraged Christians to join the Army and National Service, and we had a lot of success. And thank God for people like Yosef Haddad, who's continuing that because he's continuing that in a different way because he opened his organization for the whole Arab community in Israel. But you can see the change of people who are calling to finally integrate to the Israeli society and be one part. We say that we're minorities only when we are abroad, but actually in Israel we're all Israelis, and that's who we are. But that's how we used to explain ourselves. Like, we're a minority, or we're actually or Israelis, and that's how it's gonna be. I will finish before we open for questions with a small video that I really love to show, because that's what I always say about Israel. It's the huge mixture of people that we have, the huge mixture of identities, national, the mixture of backgrounds that we have. And how best to explain it than with food. I love food, as you see, and I had a cooking show. It had 2 episodes only. And I would like to show you the video that we made about shakshuka and an amazing story behind that shakshuka.
Hi there, I'm Jonathan. I'm here in the Machne Yehuda Shuk in Jerusalem to enjoy some shakshuka. Shakshuka is a dish made of tomatoes. When I grew up in Lebanon, people were killed at checkpoints for saying the word tomato in the wrong dialect. The Palestinian dialect is Bandora, but the Lebanese Christian dialect is Banadura. But now, I'm in Israel, and here we say Agvania, or as the famous line says, I say tomato, and you say tomato. So let's go enjoy some shakshuka in the show.
You can even buy shakshuka in Borekas.
We are in the Machne Yehuda Shuk, and this is your place. What's it called?
It's a shakshuka house. It's called shakshuk. It's like market and shakshuka together. And now we show you how we make the shakshuka. So start making in the morning, big pot.
What's in the sauce?
Onion, tomato, also garlic. All the things that I use is from the Makane Yehuda market. So we have here a few kinds of shakshuka. The eggplant. We do the eggplant on fire. We put all the inside of the eggplant, and this is with like olive, and we service a big bread. We did the shakshuka. It's the best.
So what is so special with this shakshuka?
I tell you, when you cook with love and with your heart, you feel the taste that it's special. My family, my grandmother from Syria and my grandfather from Kurdistan. So cooking at home in Kurdish, Hebrew, and also Arabic.
They lived in a mixed city or
Yes,
village, like
yes.
Muslims. So it's basically like this area over here. You're all mixed cultures and religions over here.
Yes.
In the Mahdi Yehuda.
Yes.
Even your worker.
Yes.
He's Muslim, right?
Yes.
So you're connecting really good.
Yes.
التعارف برضه منيح كويس كان من جانب العربي او من جانب اليهودي بالاخر كلها طبعا.
The people around here, who's your, the people that come here to eat?
So we have all the Muslims work here in the Shuk Makane Yehuda, and of course we have all the people here that come to the market to shopping.
مش فرق بين عربي ويهودي وامريكاني ومسيحي ومسلم لا تسعة ايش فرق؟
And I want to tell you about the people who work in the Shuk Makane Yehuda. Also Jewish and Arabic, we work here together like a family because we every day look each other and we eat together and you know if something happened we are set together. Now I want to invite all the people, Arabic, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, all the people who come to eat here in Jerusalem because food, when it's come from the heart, with love, so it's for all the people.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much, Michal.
Thank you, Jonathan.
I had a great day here at the Mahdi Yehuda show, and I can't wait to show you more.
So after I made you hungry, basically, that's Israel. That's Israel that we know, that Israel that we grew up to, and that's Israel that we want to show all the people in the world. Because this misconception that is saying that Israel is an apartheid, Israel is a racist state, it's all false accusations. And we're really happy that we were able to share with you our stories. And now we want to get your questions, and we would love to answer that. So I would like to invite Yosef and Lorena to join us here at the table. And feel free to ask any question. Yes, sir.
First time in Texas?
My first time? No, actually I think it's my fourth or fifth. I was in Apartheid Week in Houston University 2 years ago. And that was really interesting experience because it was my first experience in this kind of activity because I didn't really expect that much of hate of people. And when we talk about the Students for Justice in Palestine or any other activity that are considered to be anti-Israeli, they're not pro-Palestinians. Because with pro-Palestinians, we actually have a good conversation and we can get to conclusions. But for anti-Israelis, that the only thing that driven them is hate. And they don't want to talk and they just want to shout at you and curse you. Suddenly, we're like like we don't have anything in common to talk about. And this unfortunately happened actually here in Houston University that I experienced for the first time.
Well, I hope you have a good experience in Texas, and you need to have a chicken fried steak.
I will get to you later. Where to get that?
Actually, we want to eat something, so we are thinking.
I thought about steak because, you know, it's Texas.
Chicken fried.
Chicken fried chicken.
Texas, yeah, chicken fried steak.
Oh, chicken fried steak. Oh, wow. Okay. That's interesting. Yes.
Are any of y'all citizens of Israel?
We are all citizens of Israel, yes.
Do you have a citizenship?
Yes.
You have the citizenship of Israel.
Yes.
And when you pray, who do you pray to?
What do you mean?
When you pray, who do you pray to?
To God. I'm Christian. He's Christian. She's Jews. We have one God.
Who do you pray to?
To God.
I know, but which
Who do you
God?
pray?
Which God?
Who do you pray?
Which God?
Who do you pray?
I'm asking the question.
I'm answering the question. I'll explain to you. In Israel, of course, as you know, there is a lot of religions, but eventually, all the religions believe in one God. And actually, you know, if we go back, it started from the Torah. And everybody is like, it goes from the Torah, and then you have the three main religions, which is the Muslims and the Christians and the Jews. But eventually, all of us, we believe in one God, and we pray for that God. And to your question, whether we are Israelis or not, of course we're Israelis. We're born in Israel. We've been raised in Israel. All my identity is, and my documents are Israelis. And not just that, I'm very proud to be an Israeli. So that's for sure. Not only me, I'm definitely sure that Jonathan and Lorena, and especially Jonathan now, after being born and raised in Lebanon, and we appreciate, of course, being an Israelis, and I think it's very, very unique because how many people can say that they are Arab, Christians, and Israeli at the same time? So come on, it's gotta be good, right?
Y'all profess to be Christians? All three of y'all are Christians?
No, only the two of us.
Huh?
Only the two of us are Christians, and Lorena is Druze.
Jewish.
Druze. D-R-U-Z-E.
Oh, Jewish. Druze. Druze. Oh, yeah, I was, when I was in Israel, I went to a town that was mainly Druids.
There's 18
They have their own
villages.
religion, separate to the Jewish religion or the Muslims. They have their own version of God.
That's correct.
Just like
But we all believe in one God eventually.
Well, I know, but when you pray, do you pray to Muhammad or do you pray to...
Not if they're Christians.
They're Christians.
Well,
I have a cross here.
Are you a Christian that pray to the same God you do?
Well, do you pray to Jesus or do you pray to Muhammad? That's what I was asking. Do you pray to Jesus or to Muhammad?
Christian.
Christian.
Well, you know, there's a lot of people say they're Christian, but they don't pray to Jesus.
A question from somewhere else?
We have another question.
Yes.
There.
Jonathan,
Oh, yes.
in the interview, you said there was something, a mention about a long list or some kind of list in the Kisnet. In your video, during your interview, there was.
Oh, that was Yusuf.
Yes, excuse me.
Yes, please.
The joint list.
Isn't a long list?
Okay. You're talking about the joint list, maybe. The joint list.
Okay.
I'll explain. In Israel, we have the parliament, which is the Knesset. And part of the parliament are 13, actually there are 12, Arab members of the joint list. They were supposed to represent the Arab society. Unfortunately, they are doing everything besides representing the Arab society in Israel. And what happened is they prefer to, the people who vote for them and elected them are the Arab Israelis. And eventually, once they got elected, they do everything for the Palestinians and they forget about the Israelis, Arabs. That's why I founded the organization that's called Vouch for each other, together vouch for each other. And my organization is exactly doing the opposite of what the joint list is doing. We are treating our problems in our society. We are trying to bring the Arab society closer to the Israeli society. And by doing that, we believe that we can treat the main problems of the Arab society, like violence against women, crime, illegal weapons, education. So when I established this organization, the main idea was just to make our life a better place to live in. And I'm very happy to tell you that not only Christians and not only Bedouins and Druze, but also Muslims, Israeli Muslims are actually joining this organization in order to change the winds that's going in Israel. And I'm very happy about that. And you know something? It is a long marathon, but eventually, as I say, every line starts with one dot. So we started that, and we're drawing a long line, and hopefully that we will come to a place where each and every Israeli is proud to be an Israeli.
Are Israelis in general happy with President Trump moving our embassy to Jerusalem?
Oh, hell yes.
You should do it in the microphone, I mean, for sure.
Actually, today we heard about Nikki Haley's resignation from the UN, and you need to see Twitter and Facebook today in Israel. It's like they all put a black banner on their Facebook because we're all sad that we're not gonna be able to have Nikki Haley in the UN to defend us. Because we see, I don't really want to get involved in your politics because it's a mess. Like ours as well. But the thing is that finally the Israelis see that the American administration is actually listening to what we have to say and not forcing Israel to agree to something that they want to drop on us. And that's the only reason that I think in Israel, a lot of people do agree or support Trump in the White House. And of course, we all supported Nikki Haley. And we really hope that she will get to a better position where she could continue be our alliance.
Maybe president.
Yeah, maybe one day she could be a president.
I was thinking that.
Good minds think alike, yeah. Yes.
I just heard just before I left to come here, President Trump has 5 people already on the list to replace her after the end of the year. And he said it'll be quickly. There's somebody very good with this. Because he knew about this 6 months ago. It's not brand new.
So that's really amazing because we really need a fighter in the UN next to our UN ambassador as well.
He'll give you a fighter.
That's amazing. Thank you. We're really happy about that.
She said today she was not going to run in 2025.
You never know.
No, maybe 2024, you know.
There's a gentleman on the back row that's been wanting to ask a question.
President Trump loves Israel. President Trump loves the Jews. President Trump loves all of Israel. And I do too. Right here.
Thank you.
Right there.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir.
There's a large Druze community in southern Syria. Is Israel helping them or protecting them?
Actually, I can tell you about the protest that the Druze community even can do in Israel in order to protect their brothers and Druze people in Syria. And the Israeli government have agreed on some of them, and some of them can't, because it's not that
Outside issue.
yeah, it's an outside issue. It's not like something about the Druze community in Israel. So it's not the purpose of Israel. Israel is not responsible for that.
But you know, I just want to add one more thing. Israel has helped Syrian kids and women and men more than any country in the world. And we know that because I actually one time have been on a trip up north, and I saw the IDF goes close to the border, even a little bit inside, to give food, clean water, and warm sheets to the Syrian people. And you know what? This is pretty amazing. I mean, Syrian people, the whole Arab countries, not saying one thing, not doing anything. And the only country who's doing that is Jewish Democratic State of Israel. Come on.
That's happened over and over and over again around the area, though. It's always in Israel.
I have to say also that in the last month after the 200 women and children have killed in Syria, the Druze women and children, Israel have sent like a delegation of holy, I say that.
Like Druze religious.
Yeah, the leadership of the Druze community to Syria just to visit their brothers and to see what happens and how they can help them. So I think that there is no country in the whole world that will agree and give this ability to the people for worships or for visiting like their neighborhoods or their enemies' countries.
We have had a couple of visits from an Israeli IDF officer who is a doctor. He was stationed, down in San Antonio?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He's back in Israel.
Yeah, he's back in Israel. He wanted to stay here for his baby to be born, but they rotated him back.
Yeah.
But he was very interesting to speak with, and he spoke quite often about the injured people from Palestine that they would bring over and treat and send back with medicines from Germany, so that, they wouldn't, different things. So, it's amazing what happens there. I do have a question for Lorena. Did I understand you correctly that according to your community, you shouldn't be traveling with these guys?
Actually,
we're a bad influence.
It's one of our limitations. Like for me, as like a woman, more than a man, it's limited. Like I can't go even if I want to be like to go after my laws and the traditions. I can't be here, but hopefully I have a supportive family, and they do all the things that I can achieve my dreams or something that I will do or I want to do. So there's no limitations for my family.
But we keep her safe, don't worry.
I think, if I want to be honest, I think Lorena is the toughest part than us. It's really funny because Lorena really touches a lot of these ideas that is happening in the Arab societies. For example, my mom, when we used to live, I wasn't born then, or I was 2 years old, and there were no way that a woman could wear pants in the village, let alone in Lebanon. And my mom used to make her own dresses, so she made her own pants because she didn't have any place to do that. She wore the pants and she took us, me and my brother, I have an older brother, and suddenly the whole neighborhood was calling my father, "Your wife is wearing pants! Oh my God, come pick her up from the street." It was like, oh my God, what is happening here? And then he said to her, well, let her wear pants if that's what she wants to do. And it only starts with one person to make a change. And that's why I'm more than proud to have Lorena with us, because we need only one person to start and lead a change. And she's doing that in a brilliant way in her own community, and we're all supportive of that, and we're all happy that she's here with us. And we had, actually, Yusuf wasn't with us because back then, but we had lunch with her parents a few days ago, 2 weeks I think, and it was amazing to see how her family is supportive, because they really want to see change in their own communities as well. What we're trying to do.
Well, I admire all three of you, especially the young woman, for being brave to go out.
I think we have one place for one last question. Yes, sir.
What about the Golan Heights? Should Israel annex it? Will Israel eventually annex it?
I think
Benjamin Netanyahu have always said, like the Israeli Prime Minister, I think all of you know him. I think if he runs in the States, he might win, actually. But he always said that there is no way that Israel is going to return the Golan Heights. That it's Israel's sovereignty, and it's including Israel's map. And more than that, you can see the Druze community in the Golan Heights that until 2006, none of them agreed to have an Israeli citizenship because they didn't know what is going to happen, and they were kind of kept neutral. But suddenly you can see Israeli flags, you can see them going and joining the higher like universities. Lorena has a few students in the University of Haifa. So you can see now that they're requesting their Israeli IDs because they know that there's no better place for them to have than in Israel. We all know that, and now they know that as well.
I actually have one thing to say about that.
You know, the international community must understand that Israel will not allow ISIS, Iran, Hezbollah, which are there right now in Syria, to be 1 kilometer from the Israeli borders. Not only that, if they will have the control of the Golan Heights, then we don't have any leverage or any advantage. So rest assured, the Golan is part of Israel and it will stay part of Israel.
What's the language that you speak to one another and everybody else? Is there one language that you can communicate?
You know, if people hear us speaking, they will say that the three of us are the craziest people in earth. Because we speak Arabic, we speak Hebrew, and sometimes English, and sometimes just rubbish word that nobody understands.
it's in the same time.
And it's in the same time. You can actually hear me saying to her in Arabic while I'm speaking with them in the Hebrew.
Now, what percentage speak English in all of Israel?
Oh, not so good.
Not too good? No. I just always wondered, you know.
Yeah.
Especially the accent. Here we have a little bit good accent, but the Israeli accent is very unique.
It's very, very unique. No, the thing is that English is like a third language in Israel. Although, like, it depends. For Arabs, it's the third language because they learn Arabic at home and then they learn Hebrew at school because their country runs in Hebrew. So it's their second, and then they don't really have the time or the ability to learn a third language. And for the Jewish people as well, they don't really see it as important as it should be. I studied in an English school in Lebanon, so I had the basics until I came to Israel, and then I kept on fixing it. And Yosef here worked abroad for a few years, so he...
Canada, actually.
Yeah.
I had a company in Edmonton. Very cold. Very cold.
In your household, what did you speak? In your family, what?
Arabic, But my father was very strict of, to learn Hebrew because without Hebrew you will not succeed in Israel. And he was very strict to learn English because without that you cannot explore the world. So I actually, the three of us, actually, we speak the three main languages in the world. Arabic, which is they have 1 billion Arabic people, and it was Chinese, yeah. But English, like most of the, like.
Well, I speak French. I didn't know how.
Oh, my mom speaks very good French. But comment ça va? Ça va bien, très bien. But basically, that's it.
So, thank you all for having
Thank you.
We really hope that we can come and visit again. And actually, I said after my first time in Texas, the Texan people are the best people that I've ever met in the States. And
Of course.
Texas is still one of my favorite countries beside Boston, because Boston is like your Texas.